We are live. Welcome to Undisrupted, live from ISTE on Radio Row, Adam. How do you feel?
I feel great to be live here on Radio Row, watching the people, the millions and millions.
I'm trying to make like noise. I don't know. So we're not live, and we're not at ISTE, and this is pre-recorded, but being released during ISTE, and ISTE was in San Antonio this year, or was supposed to be, but now it's not. So we're doing this remotely. Oh, sadness.
There's always next year. There's always next year.
Where is it next year, Adam?
I think it's in Nolens.
Nolens. That won't be bad at all. That's going to be just all sorts of fun there. And we will definitely, if we are still on the air, folks, we will definitely be coming to you live at some point in New Orleans. Can you imagine an Undisrupted live in New Orleans? We'll have to get on top of one of those balconies and look over at people. That would be a fun thing. Special remote satellite. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to do a beads challenge, see who can get the most beads during the recording.
Also, a quick way to end this podcast as well. But so let's shift gears. Let's get a little serious, because I know that last year at this time there's a lot of stuff going on, and we want to really kind of touch on this. And so I know it's kind of resurfaced just recently in light of all the recent news. What are your thoughts and what are your feelings on the chicken wars, the chicken sandwich wars? I mean, where do you stand?
I mean, I thought we had put this behind us. You know, I'm from the South, so here Chick-fil-A has been king. But you know, last year, you know, Popeyes came out with the spicy chicken sandwich, and it really
was strong,
upset. Man. But now there's a new contender out there. You know, Burger King, they have the Chiking sandwich. The Chiking sandwich. And even McDonald's has gone back to the lab, and they've come back out with a brand new chicken sandwich. I mean, Zaxby's. I mean, this is getting out of hand here.
I know. Next thing you know, Taco Bell will have a chicken. Oh wait, they have like some sort of chicken.
Yes.
Some sort of like chicken taco thing. It just keeps. I don't know.
What about Arby's?
Arby's?
They have the meats.
They have the meat, so why couldn't they? I think it's appropriate that you said that McDonald's went to the lab, because I'm pretty sure that's made in the lab somewhere. We need to have, so in a future season 4, if they'll have us back, we need to have a chicken sandwich off or something. We need to figure out a way. And we'll have a sample and a taste test, because now I'm like craving the chicken sandwich. I'm looking online right now as you're talking through these. I'm like, oh wait, there's Zaxby's. There's all just a bunch of good ones. The best chicken sandwiches, that you can find.
Who came up with the rest? I mean, it's like a chicken sandwich, some kind of mayo, and a pickle. And there you go.
The chicken mayo. Yeah, and then of course there's this KFC, which I think was the original, maybe. I don't know. I would say dollars for donuts, if you're in the Nashville area and you get a chance to go by Hattie B's, grab you a chicken sandwich from Hattie B's. They are not a sponsor of this show. They are not sending us any money, although I would appreciate a Hattie B's chicken sandwich. Go with the hot. Go with the hot, and I know you'll hate it. It's hot going in, hot going out, but it's a very tasty sandwich.
It sounds like you want another spicy chicken challenge on the podcast, man.
Well, that last one, yes, you had the COVID and we did it. We'll have to figure out a better way.
Yes.
So we're at ISTE, or we're not at ISTE, and you know, we're doing a bunch of stuff. What are some sessions? What are you doing? What are you excited about? Although, again, this will drop Tuesday of ISTE, so if people are listening to this right now are probably going, well, ISTE's either over or almost over. So let's make believe that you just went. It's Tuesday, and you've gone through the first 3 days of ISTE. What was something you saw that you really liked?
Well, you know, I really like year 2 of their virtual platform. You know, it took a little refining of the tools last year to this year, but you know, being able to have the little virtual backpack to collect your resources and things of that nature, it's definitely something that I like. And we talked about this in our previous episode. I hope some aspects of this virtual thing still hangs around once we move forward with getting back together for face-to-face conferences. Because I know FETC in January will be face-to-face and live. Hopefully to get you down there to Orlando. We'll see.
They just reached out to me and asked me if I wanted a press pass, which I thought was really interesting. I was like, I've never been offered a press pass before. I was like, does this mean I'm press? Awesome. That's impressive. No.
I see what you did there.
That platform.
What about you, Carl?
That platform is interesting. I do like it. I know I got in there, dug around. Are you on it? Did you pick your team yet? Did you go through the whole thing and set up your team, like for the gamified part of it? Like there's Team Unicorn.
No. Is it like Pokemon Go?
Sort of, but there's like 8 or 10 of them, and then each one has like its own description. So if you're a unicorn, you're this. I always think unicorn. I don't know why, Adam. When I think of you, I think of unicorn. But
Yeah, you know.
and then in certain spaces you are.
Yes.
And we talked about that on a next episode.
Right on.
But and then like I think I'm Team Dragon. Although I wanted to be Team Liger, but they didn't have a Liger. But a Liger's pretty powerful and it has great magic. So
They're dynamite,
yeah.
I heard.
Yes, it's dynamite. It's interesting. I went and played around with it a little bit today, and yeah, there's definitely they're working on adding some layers to it. I think that has potential. The other one I saw recently was a program called Gather Town. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a little, it's like an 8-bit. You're a little icon, and you kind of move around, and as you get closer to like little tables, like you can hear or see the people on those tables, and then like your video screen pops up. So it's almost like you're walking around a virtual exhibit hall, I guess. I don't think ISTE's doing that. They have different things for their exhibit hall, but
Well, here's a quick hack
people are
that I
trying.
figured out going through the practice sessions at ISTE. We've all gone virtual background crazy, as you can tell from our virtual backgrounds. And those of you who are watching, you can't use a virtual background in the ISTE platform, but you can trick it. You can trick it
How do you trick it out?
if you use like OBS
Yes.
or
Yes.
You gotta do your
Oh, you
mouth
mean,
like that.
No, also, neither which of sponsor of the show, but
Uh,
but yeah,
If you use one of those as your cameras, you can just select that as a camera, and you can have a virtual background in the ISTE platform using
okay.
or OBS.
Both it just sounds like never in our life, like a year ago, I would never guess that we'd be talking about some. I knew we'd be talking about BS, but not OBS or but maybe only when we talk about our chicken sandwiches. So yeah, I'm excited about. There are a few sessions. You know, I know you and I we have an undisrupted session that actually is going to be as of this recording will be done. It's going to be kind of a blowout panel. We have a lot of our old friends coming back, kind of a reunion of sorts, checking in on some folks that we had in seasons 1 and 2. So that'll be I'll fun doing that. I think you and I are doing a stupidest Edtech session, or already did it. I guess by this time of the recording on Saturday, which you're going to do.
And I'm doing a
asynchronously.
Horizon chat.
Oh yeah, what's that about?
With the leadership group, we're doing a Horizon chat on equity, so should be pretty awesome.
And I'm running 3 trivia happy hours, actually, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Again, by the time this is out, it'll be too late. You've already missed them all probably, but they're all free. Follow us on the socials and you'll find out more about that. But yeah, thanks to Aver for giving away some good prizes for that as well. So it's always fun trying to make it engaging. It was interesting speaking to some vendors during this time. I've spoken to a lot of vendors, it seems like, in the last few weeks, just as we gear up to this, and they're all trying to figure out ways to stand out and be unique. And they're quite honestly, a lot of them are flummoxed. They're just like, well, we're going to go into the virtual vendor hall, and then there's these little badges that people can earn for interacting with us. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is there a way to? I mean, the trivia things have been great for vendors that I've worked with, but that's just, I mean, I'm personally biased on that. What are your thoughts on, like, how does a vendor get engaged in a virtual setting, or is that even? Should we just like say punt and pass till New Orleans and spend all your money there?
Yeah, the biggest thing is as long as people know what you do. I think right now this is that big space where people need to know what the product is. Because there's a lot of confusion on what these various tools that are out there, what tools have been created to support digital learning, device management. So I think the biggest thing that these vendors can do is just get their product out there during these virtual sessions, and hopefully get to more of a point where people can get hands-on or get those demos. Folks are looking at various like STEM platforms or device management. Those types of things just have to get out there to the right people.
I think that's the most important thing. I think you can also, with all the trackability, I guess, of being in those sessions, like you're saying, they could see your data when you walk up, quote unquote, walk up, because they know who's there around them, which is different than walking down a convention center where you're like I would flip my badge over sometimes just to, oh, I'm just walking through, don't bother me, but I know that also pays the bills. But we have breaking news though, Adam. Breaking news right now into the podcast. This was sent to me on a text message thread. This is a tweet breaking in a major First Amendment case on student speech. The Supreme Court rules 8-1 in favor of a former high school student who was disciplined by her public school. Did you see this where she put like some message on Snapchat, just complaining about the cheerleading squad or why she got cut or something, and they suspended her for it. What are your
I
thoughts? Now,
saw
this
that.
this this has big ramifications in our field. I feel like as tech leaders, because now
Yeah.
we could be called in for. We already are called in. I used to be all the time for social media mishaps when kids would do things not on our devices but on their own devices, which is weird.
Yeah.
But they always look at like, oh, you're the tech guy, Adam. Do something about it. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
it's crazy that this went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and this ruling, which I'm torn on. I definitely believe that there has to be a level of once someone leaves the school building, they can do whatever they choose to do, and take away the technology piece. If something happens in the neighborhood, in the community, are we do we have to discipline that on Monday morning when they come back?
Yeah.
If two kids get in a fight on Saturday and they come to school that next on Monday, and one of the kid has a black eye, do we have to discipline it? The kid's like, hey, I can't be in the classroom with that kid anymore. He beat me up. So there's some actions that we have to take, even though something did not happen while it was under our watch. But when you start talking about now, we are supposed to, or not supposed to in this case, discipline kids for what they do outside, even though they're talking about things that happen in school. Is it going to be specifically if they said that Carl is a poo-poo head on Snapchat, is that something that
That's
we're going
what
to
they say.
discipline a kid over, or
That's that trendy
are
kid
we
language.
prying into
Yeah.
their life?
Yeah, I think the I guess the when it crosses over into the school world, I guess as administrators we have to be thinking, is it affecting or disrupting school? Disrupted. And if that's the case, then maybe that's where the discipline liars things matter. But like we had a case once where there was a kid that created a fake Instagram account that was supposed to be the yearbook account. And so they went out and they said they were taking pictures, and what they did is they went to a party where a bunch of like teenagers were doing what teenagers do sometimes when their parents are away, and took a bunch of teenagers drinking, and posted it on this faux fake whatever Instagram account for the yearbook. And what was interesting about that was like it was like during a weekend, and we got calls on Monday. A lot of parents called in and said, "What can you do about it?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, was it on our device? No, it's on their phones. It's on their personal accounts. Sure, they used the moniker of the school, which they shouldn't have done." And then the other interesting thing was like all the kids knew who it was, because they
Right.
just said, "Well, look who's in the pictures and who's not." I mean, there's one kid, and that kid was just trying to get revenge because they'd gotten kicked off yearbook or something. But anyway, it made me think, wow, I mean, the blurred lines are real. But I like your analogy. Yeah, take the tech out of it. If someone's just talking trash in the neighborhood, I mean, that does have some spillover into school if it affects learning, if it makes a kid feel bullied, or so there's going to be a point where we'll have to address it. But now with this ruling, I mean, it looks like
Yeah,
suspension.
dude. I mean,
It's
but
not
it's
an
like,
option.
do you almost have to have a whole investigative wing of your school to do that? We had a situation where it was a fight between some young ladies in one of the communities, and during the fight, one of the young ladies her top became exposed. Well, it was filmed and it got put on Snapchat, I believe, the platform it was shared on. And so the mom wanted us to go after the kids and take the video down. One, I'm not a Snapchat friend or whatever with any of these kids, so I had no idea where the video was, and I'm like, I don't want to see the video. And it happened outside on the kid's personal device. There's nothing in the school system that we can do about it. Maybe you can try to take some legal action with the local authorities, but that's nothing for us to take care of as far as the technology area goes. Now, there's other issues you may talk about that student being in the classroom with the kid who filmed it, but then now it's which kid filmed it.
Right.
To your point, everybody quote unquote knew who filmed it, but all the kids saying it wasn't me. That's not my account. What are you talking about? So it's a slippery slope when we start digging down in these layers that happen outside of the traditional school space, but it's dealing with our kids. So I think the biggest thing we can learn from all this is we need to do more digital health, digital literacy, digital learning, so those events don't happen. And they're far and few between when they do. So really do more education on the front end. I think it's very important, and it can't just be part of the computer class. It needs to be every adult's responsibility, and that means we need to train our adults better.
Yep.
And it needs to happen in every subject every day, just like reading does, just like comprehension skills. It needs to be embedded across all curriculum areas.
Yeah, I think you're right on point. I feel like the schools maybe, and this has been happening. I mean, I guess the police department would probably feel the same way, but I feel like because a lot of services are getting reduced, most of the onus falls on schools or police to kind of handle most situations. So in that case, like, well, you call the police or you call, or is it the school? And it's like, those are the only two. Maybe there needs to be like some position that's created that's like a digital community liaison or something that is the, like an in-between, almost like social services, counseling, but to tie on to what you were saying about digital literacy and teaching families more about it. And maybe that falls into us again, another thing for CTOs and tech directors to do, which is already a long list of things. But I don't know. It's
There's a
interesting.
new
Yeah.
position to hire.
Right. Why
A
not?
new position to hire, and when you hire new people, you got to go through a process, interviews, and questions. Like, ugh, that's
Yeah.
something that can be
You just went
entertaining.
through that. I mean, so tell me, what was it? So I know you just had a whole bunch of hirings, and I'll talk about my system of what I did. It was pretty grueling, but what was it like? Because you were hiring new, was it instructional tech specialists?
Yeah, digital learning coaches,
Hmm.
and I hired a application specialist to kind of help with our SSO rostering and all that stuff with the applications. So, like, the good thing with me and my district, and I know a lot of tech directors, I know you have something similar to this. We have Innovative Leaders of Tomorrow, which is basically some of our teachers that we really pour into to develop their skill set. So it's not necessarily, hey, teacher, we want you to help somebody do their grade book. Yeah, that's some of the stuff that they do, but these are teachers that we decided, hey, they were those frontline people, go-getters, so they decided to become Google certified. So we went ahead and paid for their cert. Microsoft Innovative Educators. So really focusing in on the tools that we're using in our system and developing those skill sets in those teachers so they can utilize them in the classroom with those with their students. So by doing that, when it was time for us to interview and add new positions, we had a pretty robust pool of internal candidates that knew what we
Nice.
were looking for in the system, and so it made our interviews a whole lot more effective. As we went through, and they had to do a demonstration, and we did them face to face. So we had them come in. We were socially distanced, and they came in there, and I put on, believe it or not, I put on my mean mug in the interview.
You
I try
got
to make
to.
them, I try to make them as uncomfortable as possible. So like we hit them from the go,
Yeah.
where they get a phone call. We have somebody call in the room, and it's a principal, and they're on speakerphone, and the person who's acting as a principal is saying they don't want them to come in and do a training, and their job is to talk the principal off the ledge and say, hey, I need to come in and do this training, and it's going to support the teachers and students in your building. So we really want to see how they handle those situations, because those are real. And then we go into the questions after that. So we hit them from the get-go with something to make them uncomfortable, because it's all about being able to be agile and accept change. And I know you in the past had something that your folks had to go through.
It was an interesting thing. So we called it the Edtech Gauntlet. It's a 7-step process that I stole from Facebook and Google as part of their hiring processes. But essentially, we try to mimic what the educational technologist or digital learning coach day would look like in a one-day snapshot. So after the application scoring, which is pretty standard, we had our top, let's say, 12 to 15 candidates submit a 2-minute video, which I got from Apple, because Apple used to do that when you want to submit to be an Apple Distinguished Educator. 2 minutes about your life. We got a 2-minute video resume. Some people went over the top and were super creative. Some people just like just sat on a camera. We didn't judge them based on creativity. We just wanted to hear them and their voice. And then we whittled that down to 8 or 4. If we got down to 4, it was always ideal, because then we could do the gauntlet. The gauntlet was 5 things. One is you're presenting for 30 minutes. In one room, you're actually doing a little interview for about 30 minutes. In another room, you're asking someone in the current position question, so you get to play the role of questioner. And then in a fourth room, you're doing the email challenges. So there's basically a parent, principal, and teacher email that you have to reply to. And I just rep them by coming in wearing a wig or a different outfit and asking for random. Every time I come in with a different outfit and throw them off, and they have to be absolutely serious with me. They can't like laugh at me or whatever. They have to actually. I'm a teacher looking for help. And then the last room, we put them all together. So after they've done their 4 rotations, they all come together, and we just have them battle. No, we don't. We put them all. We have 3. We
I
have
saw that in that Batman Dark Knight, where you
you all go in
he
this
breaks
room.
the stick.
Yeah, who's gonna
One
be
spot in the team.
Yes. and so we have 4 tables set up, and each one's at a different table, and there's 2 envelopes, and they can open up either envelope, A or B. It's up to them. What they don't know is that both envelopes have the same thing. But I make them feel like they have some choice in the matter. And then it says, like, you're sitting with a table of kindergarten teachers struggling to integrate technology into their classroom, or you're sitting at a table with AP math teachers that are really against the idea of using an LMS, something like that. And so they get like a minute to read the scenario, and then all the teachers play the actors, and they're coming in a team meeting. And so their job is to listen. How well are they listening? Are they just throwing out ideas? Are they actually listening? And then all the attendees of this event, it's like 16 teachers it takes to make it work. They score on every level, and then we take the average score. Anyway, it's yielded amazing candidates. I like your idea of taking that pool. We had an innovative group too, because you're kind of, planting the seeds when you have that group of innovative teachers to grow those STEM or STEAM, to make sure they don't leave the district.
Yeah.
No, that's too many puns. But I love that, because you have a great pool to choose from. And so we don't have enough of that in schools. And so if you have those kind of positions, what an opportunity to say, you may not want to be this person. That a lot of teachers that are really great teachers don't like teaching their peers. I don't know why, but I know several. In fact, some popped into my head right now that's an amazing teacher. She's on social media, but when I get her to try to train, she's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, oh, you're just amazing. But I think it's a peer thing. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we had one person I thought would have been a really great candidate, and they were like, no, I just really like being in the classroom with the kids. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to force you to apply for something or to take you out of your comfort zone. But just know that these positions don't come around every day. Right. And so don't come at me mid-year like, hey, Adam, when you think you're going to get some more of these? It took me 5 years to get these.
It's a fight. And we rotated. We went through this ebb and flow of roller coaster of like, oh, we have 1 for every campus. And then we went down to 2 for the entire district. And then it was 1 for every campus, and then 4. And then when I left, it went back down to, it was like down to 1 for every campus. And I was like, and now I hear they're hiring back. So it's just the same. And it's weird, especially of all positions, educational technology. Some people think it's an add-on. I don't know going forward. I think you're going to have some level of that, depending on the size of your district, of course. You have to have some level of person that's doing that.
Yeah, because my thoughts have kind of changed on it. I used to say with my instructional team, my job is to make your job obsolete.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing our job the right way, then it should just be teaching. It shouldn't be someone coming in telling you how to quote unquote integrate technology. But I've kind of shifted a little bit because with the technology constantly changing, you need someone to be more aware of all these new tools that are coming out there or new features. Just like look at something as simple as Zoom, as many features that they've kind of added in this platform over the past 15 months. Someone who's using it every day, they may not go beyond that and may miss out on a ton of different features and tools. Same thing with Microsoft Teams or Google Teams. All these platforms are adding new features, so you have to have someone to be able to share and let you know what's there, and then figure out those ways where it could fit into the curriculum, because it has to plug a hole. If it doesn't plug a hole, then you don't need it. But you have to have those people that can figure those things out.
Was you watching the video? I was going through as many new features of Zoom as I could as we were trying to throw you off. Right. I mean, that's what the job. I've always told them. Same things. Like, honestly, teachers could Google search pretty much most of the stuff that we do. In fact, in many times, and I've admitted to teachers, when they say, hey, how do you do this? I'm like, hey, hold on 1 minute. And I'll just Google search it to kind of remind myself, because we don't have to memorize all that stuff. But at the same time, you're saving the teacher time by coming back and saying, hey, here are maybe 3 things you need to know about Zoom going forward, and you don't have to learn the 28 new things that they added on their feature request. So I think our positions are always somewhat safe. I think going forward, it's just going to be a matter of funding and what that looks like. And of course, funds the next few years will go toward a lot of things. I mean, probably these positions, maybe more chicken sandwiches. I don't know.
But then it's also looking at like great platforms like Future Ready that, they have the framework out there to help support districts, tech leaders, librarians, teachers, as it relates to figuring out how these things fit in teaching and learning. So, the resources are there.
Yep.
You got to have folks. And one thing that I love about Future Ready, that's why I'm proud to be a part of it, they charge the same amount that I love to pay for things.
And what is that, Adam?
Free 99. Free 99 is the price you pay for these resources. Even this, can you believe it? this podcast is free 99. Like,
Oh, we don't have this up on Stitcher or anything where you have to pay a little bit. I don't know. What are those?
I
What are
mean,
those podcasts that do the? You have to pay. I can't remember what it's called now, but they have the Patreon where they ask you to pay a
yes.
little. I was like, it reminds me of a tequila, but that's Patron. Um, it's a whole nother podcast. No, you're right, and I think that we don't acknowledge that enough, especially on this podcast. But I think that's something that brought us together as a future ready resources, and the fact that they are free. I love that. I love that they're and I think it's part of their mission statement as a nonprofit is that they're going to keep that kind of insight and content free for all of our users. So,
I mean, which would not be able to do without great sponsors like
AWS. Thank you, AWS, for everything you've done for us this season. I hope you'll stick with us for one more season. We have one more exciting episode to go this season that we have already recorded. You guys are going to be real excited. It's got a couple of sneaky surprise guests, not our moms. We've already done that. But people that like to dish, especially on Adam and I. So it is definitely it's kind of a festive.
my girlfriend from high school.
No, not that. No, not her.
Okay.
No, that's season 4. We got to leave some teasers out there for season 4. And now it's Adam's ex-girlfriend from high school. That would be fun. No. It'll be fun. So I hope you guys stay tuned and listen to that. Thank you guys, of course, always for listening to us and signing up in there. You know, I've been looking at the reviews. I still see some from early in the seasons, Adam, on iTunes. I'll have to go in and look at the other platforms because I know we're on Spotify and Stitcher and a bunch of those other places. I just haven't looked to see what the reviews say, but we do appreciate it. We do see that you guys are watching and downloading. Actually, we don't even care if you listen. As long as you download, that's all that matters to us. In fact, download and don't listen. No.
Yeah. So subscribe.
We'd love to see some of you on a future show as well. So for the 11th episode of season 11, this is the Undisrupted Podcast brought to you by Future Ready Schools. He's Adam, and you can follow him at AskAdam3.
And he's Carl, and you can follow him at Mr. Hooker. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are better together.
We are better.
Undisrupted.
This podcast is made possible by the generous support of Amazon Web Services.